I left my husband for a travel influencer. Now I'm 50K in debt from funding his content and I'm homeless. Posted by Throwaway My Life 32. The travel influencer's name was Drew. You probably haven't heard of him unless you doom scroll TikTok for hours at night like I used to. He was all smiles and sunrises, drone shots from Bali and deep captions about living your best life. It sounds ridiculous writing it out now, but I was bored out of my mind. My marriage wasn't bad, but it felt like dying of thirst next to a full glass of water, just routine, stale, safe. I followed Drew for months, then commented, then messaged. He answered. That was all it took to break open something inside me. The fantasy was so much easier to believe than my life: bills, dinner, dust on the windowsill. I was flattered, excited, and stupid enough to think it meant something. Our DMs turned into texts turned into late-night calls, and suddenly he was telling me he'd be passing through my city. I told my husband I was going to visit a friend. That was the first of many lies. It was all so easy. Drew made me feel like someone who could live in color, not just shuffle through a gray routine. I started sneaking away to see him, weekends at cheap hotels, endless selfies, pretending to be a part of his world. When I finally confessed to my husband, it wasn't even an apology. It was a declaration. I was leaving. I thought I was chasing freedom. Instead, I was just running in circles around someone else's life. Living with Drew was never really living with him. We were always on the road, except the road was me driving, paying for gas and fronting for every Airbnb because he was between brand deals. He needed a new camera lens. I paid for it. He wanted to upgrade his drone for better shots. Swipe, swipe, swipe. He'd get me to film him, do his laundry, answer emails for him when he was networking. We were everywhere and nowhere: Austin, Phoenix, Cancun, Tulum. The only thing that followed us was the bills. The influencer grind looks glamorous from a distance. From up close, it's just chaos. He was always hunting for content, never really talking to me unless I was holding his phone or booking his flights. Every dinner was a collab opportunity, every moment curated for maximum likes. I started to realize that I was background noise: the girlfriend, the driver, the wallet. But by then, my own accounts were dry. I'd put $20,000 on credit cards before I even started counting. I told myself it was an investment. He'd pay me back when the next sponsorship came in. The next deal was always just about to drop. He needed my help, he said. I was part of the team. The fact that the team was just me and my Discover card didn't seem to matter. When I pushed back, he'd make me feel guilty for not believing in his dream. And I was desperate for the dream to pay off, because I'd already left everything for it. The pressure never let up. I started dodging calls from my ex, my family, my friends. They'd text, I'd ignore. I couldn't admit I'd nuked my life for a guy who couldn't even remember my birthday, let alone pick up a tab. By month 6, I was tracking every expense on my phone. By month 8, I'd maxed out 2 cards and started selling old jewelry for cash. The first time Drew snapped at me, I should have seen the writing on the wall. We were in a cheap motel in Sedona. He was pissed about losing followers, and he blamed me for being negative energy. He left for a walk. I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at my bank app, trying to calculate if I could even get home. When he came back, it was like nothing happened. The next morning he posted a video of us laughing in the desert, thousands of likes rolling in. It was a lie. All of it. But the illusion was so strong, and the alternative, going home in shame, broke, alone, was worse. I stuck it out, convinced myself it was temporary. But every month, I watched my debt climb. $50,000. That's what it cost to bankroll someone else's fantasy. When the money ran out, so did Drew's patience. The day he left, he didn't even say goodbye. Just a text: I think we should take a break. Me to focus on my career. By the time I read it, his account had blocked me and all our pictures were gone. His latest post? Him in Cabo, arm around some blonde, a fresh set of hashtags. My cards were all declined. My phone bill was overdue. I had nowhere to go. I packed what I could into my car and drove to the one place I could afford, a 24-hour Walmart parking lot. That's where I slept for the first time that night, shivering under a blanket I'd bought for Drew, scrolling through his feed, wondering how I'd let my life turn into someone else's content. I'm 50K in debt from funding his content, and I'm homeless. Waking up in a Walmart parking lot with frost on the inside of your windshield does something to your pride. The morning after Drew dumped me, I sat staring at my phone, hoping for a message, an apology, a refund, anything. Nothing. Just my bank app flashing warnings, unread texts from people I'd ghosted, and his new girlfriend's filtered face in my feed. I tried to think rationally. I called my mom. Straight to voicemail. Left her a message I knew she'd play for my sisters, probably over a kitchen table while they all rolled their eyes. I messaged old friends, all variations of "Hey, it's been a while." The replies trickled in, polite and cold. "Hope you're okay." Wow, crazy story. No one offered a couch. No one asked if I was alright. Burn enough bridges and eventually you're just waiting in the river, alone. I looked at my contacts and considered calling my ex-husband. I even typed out a message, asking if I could crash on the couch for a few nights, but I couldn't send it. He'd moved on, and honestly, he deserved better than having to look at the person who traded him for hashtags and drone shots. I got as far as driving by our old place once. The porch light was on, warm and familiar. I kept going. For a while, I survived on autopilot. I stretched out what was left of my cash, buying cheap gas station food and bottles of water. I kept applying for jobs, but my resume was a disaster. 2 years at a job I left for personal reasons, and a big gap filled with content creation that I couldn't even prove. Every rejection felt like a stamp. Idiot, idiot, idiot. Some nights I'd park in different lots, praying security wouldn't knock on my window. When I could, I'd use the showers at gyms with free trial passes, pretend I was just in town visiting. I pawned off my last pieces of jewelry for a week in a budget motel, 3 nights of actual sleep, 4 spent listening to the TV and staring at the ceiling. I watched Drew's follower count climb, watched him bounce from Bali to Lisbon to Tulum, the new girlfriend smiling on every thumbnail. They looked like they were having the time of their lives. I looked like someone in the background of a true crime documentary. The weirdest part is how quickly you fade into the background. People don't make eye contact when you're brushing your teeth in a gas station. They don't ask questions when you buy ramen and instant coffee in bulk. You become invisible. The influencer world is all about being seen, but in real life, nobody cares who you are when you've got nowhere to go. I tried to pick up odd jobs, cleaning air vents, temp work, a week restocking shelves at a dollar store before they found out I didn't have a real address. Every paycheck went straight to minimum payments. It was like pouring water into a hole in the sand. The debt didn't budge. The calls from collections got meaner. My car insurance lapsed. I sold my last real possession, my wedding ring. For a minute, I considered pawning my phone, but that was the last lifeline to the outside world. I hit rock bottom the night my car got towed. I parked somewhere I shouldn't, ran inside a laundromat to get out of the rain. Came back to nothing but an oil stain and a new panic I didn't know I could feel. I spent the night behind the building, back pressed to the wall, stomach growling. That was when it hit me that there wasn't a comeback montage waiting around the corner. No second act. Just me, the dumb decisions I'd made, and the silence. After that, things blurred together: shelters, panhandling, a long stretch of days where I barely spoke to anyone. I started keeping a journal, writing down everything I'd lost, every person I missed, every bill I couldn't pay. I thought maybe if I got it all down, I could make sense of it, find a lesson in the ashes. Here's the truth: there's no lesson. There's just the world moving on, with or without you. The influencer posted a new video last week, him on a yacht, new girl in his lap, making fun of people who don't take risks. I watched it from a public library computer, eating a bag of chips for dinner, my phone plugged into a wall behind a fake plant. Sometimes I see couples holding hands and feel something sharp twist in my chest. I wonder what my ex is doing, if he ever misses me, if he ever thinks about how close he came to ending up in my shoes. Mostly, I just try to get through the next day, the next night, the next shift sweeping floors or wiping tables. This is what happens when you believe in someone else's fantasy and burn your own reality to the ground. If you're reading this and thinking it could never be you, just know, neither did I, and that's how it started.